All right. Good morning. This is Nicole with Live with eCom Sellers, and this is the monthly eCom planning session. So, my passion is helping people on their e-commerce journey, helping them to get organized, get focused, get consistent in their business. And if that's you, I am here for you. You can schedule a free 20-minute coaching session, but we can get into that in just a second. We're going to go through and do our monthly and quarterly ecom planning session. We're going to do like a quarterly check-in because this is the end of October. We're going into November and December, and we need to see where we are on our e-commerce journey based on the goals that we established for the quarter, and also based on the goals and objectives that we need to establish for next month. So I want to encourage you, if you haven't already grabbed the ecom planner, the stuff that we're going to go through will be in the or is in the ecom planner. You can do that in there. So as part of this session, first thing we're going to do is talk about the characteristics of an e-commerce seller. And as we get ready to talk about that, I want to encourage you to go download the monthly e-com planning checklist. You can download that directly inside the e-commerce planning Facebook group. So you can go over to the e-commerce planning Facebook group, go to the files section and download the monthly planning checklist. Once you download the monthly planning checklist, either grab a notebook or open up a Google Doc and you can begin going through the process of making notes for yourself. So, with that, let's get into the characteristics. And then after that, we're going to head right into the monthly and quarterly review, monthly planning for November and quarterly review for fourth quarter. So there's several characteristics, but I just kind of narrowed it down. I feel like I probably should say 12 instead of 11, some odd number. But in any case, um, there are some characteristics that you have to have as an e-commerce seller that you don't initially, when you start this journey, you may not have them up front because when you're starting this journey, sometimes you just don't know what you're doing yet. You're just trying to figure out what this e-commerce thing is. You're trying to figure out how it works. You're trying to figure out how to get started, and you're learning along the way. But if your underlying passion, focus, energy, if you have any of these characteristics as you go on this journey, you'll continue to develop them more and more. So my voice has now decided that it wants to cough. So hopefully I will not be coughing this entire time, but I am going to grab a cough drop real quick. So the first characteristic, number one, is to be motivated or to have passion. You got to be motivated, having that mindset of, I'm going to continue to work on this. I got to be passionate about the topic, the thing that I'm interested in. I have to be excited about it. And so sometimes when people get started on this e-commerce journey, they think that gets a quick win and they think it's going to be an easy thing and they'll just be able to make a bunch of money and be a millionaire in like 6 weeks. And that's just not how it works. It does require work. It is a simple business model. Like if you want to be an entrepreneur, going to go buy a McDonald's franchise or a Chick-fil-A franchise is completely different than this e-commerce game. So there are two different types of entrepreneurs. The McDonald's and Chick-fil-A model is way more involved. So there's a lot that's required to be able to run a McDonald's, but to be able to run your business, the great thing about being an entrepreneur is that you can run, or an e-commerce seller, is that you can run this business yourself alone and not necessarily have to, you know, initially have, a staff of 50 people. You don't need that. You don't need a staff of 10 people just to get started. Now, gradually over time, you might do that, but initially, you don't need all that. So you need to be motivated and you need to be passionate about what it is that you're about to do. At least be highly interested, if nothing else. Highly, highly, highly interested. So that is part of that mindset journey because a lot of these are going to hit that mindset journey. You have to be able to continue moving on in the midst of different things that might happen along the journey. Number two is to be intentional with your time, money, and resources. If you're a person that is just, you're not necessarily good at budgeting, you're not good at tracking your expenses, you're not good at you're not going to know whether or not you're profitable. And that's a discipline that you have to develop over time. And it does, for some people, take a little bit of time to develop it. There's some simple ways in which you can do this, and then there's more involved ways to do it. But you got to be intentional about where you invest your time. So you got to have some level of time management, some level. You got to be intentional about how you spend your money. So you got to have a little bit of money to be able to invest in your business. Some models of e-commerce require more money than others, but you got to do that. And then you have to be intentional with how you use your resources. Resources can be many different things, because on this e-commerce journey, ordering shipping supplies is part of your resources. Hiring staff may be part of your resources. Using software may be part of your resources, but you got to be intentional is the biggest piece of this. So when you are on this e-commerce journey, you have to make intentional decisions and be intentional about how you do the job, how you do the business, how you run the business, and not necessarily be random and haphazard. Number 3 is to be a student. Always be learning, always be learning, always be learning. Always be learning and working on getting better. Now, there's a difference between just staying stagnant and saying, I got to know everything about this e-commerce journey before I'll get started, versus just ripping the Band-Aid off, jumping into the water and getting going. You need to be prepared to learn along the way versus just saying, I got to have all the answers before I can get started. I will tell you, the first time you went to kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, you didn't have all the answers. You learned as you went along. You got comfortable with the environment as you went along. As you moved out on your own when you became an adult or graduated from high school, again, getting your first place, you didn't have all the answers. There were things that maybe your parents gave you some guidance, and then there were things that you encountered that weren't discussed that your parents didn't tell you about. This is all par for the course. It's a learning process. When you got your driver's license, when you got your first job, when you got fired from your first job, again, going through that, you didn't have all the answers before it happened. So getting married, having kids, you didn't have all the answers before you get started. That's the same thing with this e-commerce business. You can't say, I'm going to do this, 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 and I need to study. And then 8 years later, you finally decide, I'm going to jump in because I have all the answers. And then you encounter your first challenge. You'd be like, nobody told me about this. No, that's not how this works. So I do know people that just take course after course after course, and they never jump in. They never get started. And it's so frustrating that fear paralyzes them from taking that first step. Or, it's really the fear of the unknown, the fear of uncertainty, the fear of, it could be many things. Now, can you get started with no money? There's a couple of different ways in which you can get started with no money. But again, you got to hustle. You got to have a drive. So you got to have passion about it. That's part of the journey. Probably should have said, be motivated, be driven should be the answer instead of be passionate. But anyway, number 4, be committed and be persistent. Again, there's things that are going to happen. Shiny objects are going to come your way. And there's somebody that's going to say, hey, you can make a lot of money by doing this thing over here. Won't have anything to do with e-commerce. It'll be some other shiny object, and you'll go be excited like a cat that sees the little mouse on the stick and then run that way. And then you'll be like, oh, well, I keep hearing that this e-commerce thing works. I just haven't figured out how to do it. Well, you got to focus. But anyway, you got to be persistent. Be persistent and be committed. In the midst of it all, things are going to happen. Things are going, and it's going to be the unknown. So just be prepared for that unknown. The next is be consistent. Consistency, I feel like, is the number one key in this journey. I feel like if you're consistent about being a student, if you're consistent about being committed, if you're consistent about being focused, if you're consistent about being organized, if you're consistent about being intentional, then you will actually be very successful. I believe that. So consistency is one of the biggest keys of this journey as an e-commerce seller. Consistency can change everything. So if you are not consistent right now, I would encourage you to invest the month of November in just learning how to be consistent. Maybe you don't make a lot of progress. You don't feel like you're making a lot of progress. But if you are consistent, then what may happen is that consistency over time is going to yield you the results that you're looking for. So in the midst of everything that happens in a day, in a week, in a month, be consistent about your business, and you'll start to reap some of the rewards of the business over time. Be focused. Again, there's going to be a lot of shiny objects. And so I would encourage you to have that focused time that you commit to your business, just like you have focused time to commit to relationships or to your family or to your job. Find some focused time where you can commit to your business. All right. Be organized, definitely. If that's not a skill you have, and there's a lot of people that are not organized, and so they don't have that skill, they don't have that characteristic or trait. So, find those tools that are going to help you to get organized so that way this gets simpler and simpler over time. I'm not saying it's going to be simpler over 2 days or 2 weeks, but it's a gradual progression. So it's about that being intentional about everything that you do and then being consistent about it. So get organized, build a schedule, create some spreadsheets where you can track some stuff. You know, eventually you'll upgrade as you start to become profitable and you'll start using tools. But get organized. Be creative. This business does require some level of creativity in some of the things that you do. Initially, you may not have that creative bug. I will tell you, by nature, I am an analyst, and I have had to work on my creative skills over time. But creativity, we were all a little creative when we were kids. They forced us to, in kindergarten and first grade, to draw things with crayons and markers and to cut things out and paste and glue and things like that. So that creative energy is somewhere in you. It may be dormant. You may be an analyst like me, and you have to go seek out that. But being creative will help you in your problem solving, which is the next one. You come up with solutions to problems as you encounter them over this journey. And that's number 9. So, being a problem solver, using your creativity to solve problems, using your creativity to source, to do product research on niches. You're going to get creative with that, and you're going to figure out how to solve a lot of problems. So, you will have to pull out some of those analytical skills, reviewing the data, looking at the stats as you become more organized and looking at that information. You do have to be patient. You're not going to become a millionaire overnight. You may not even become a millionaire over 5 years. It just depends on what your investment is in the business, going back to the time, money, and resources. A person who has a little bit more money or a little bit more time, they can potentially get to where they want to get a little bit faster if they're committed and consistent. Someone that can only invest in their business maybe 1 or 2 hours a day over a period of time, they may not get there as fast. But if they have a boatload of money, they can hire a bunch of resources to be able to help them to get there and continue to maintain that couple of hours a day. So again, you got to be patient on this journey. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and everything that you list 100% is going to sell. Some things are going to sell faster than others. Some things may never sell, but you need to be patient on this journey. And you're also going to have to be patient as you run into obstacles, customer complaints, customer reviews, customer whatever. You got to be patient and then persevere. Perseverance is, I feel like, after consistency, I feel like perseverance is the next one that requires, it's like one of those key characteristics. You do have to persevere in the midst of it all, in the midst of running into challenges, in the midst of not being as organized as you want to be, and you want to try and get that going, not being as focused. You got to persevere and work on staying the course and getting your train back on the tracks. Every time you get derailed, you get distracted, something happens, even if it's personal stuff that happens, you got to persevere. So as I go back to talking about persevering, the one thing about being a student is that we are all a student of life, everything about life. As we go through this journey, you're persevering through the challenges that you run into on your first job, on your first marriage, your first relationship, your first having your first child. Again, you're going to run into things that you didn't know about. So you have to be prepared to endure those things. So I hope this is helpful. I hope that you'll share this out with a friend as we talk about the characteristics of an e-commerce seller And over the next week, we're going to be continuing our Amazon series. So definitely come back, share this information with a friend, let somebody else know about the daily ecom planning session. We're going to now go into our monthly planning. So if you don't have a notebook and pen, definitely go grab that. Or if you didn't go download the checklist as we step through that. Before we get into the checklist, I do want to invite you all to come out to Dallas Fort Worth for our Black Friday Arbitrage Blitz that is happening next week, or this week, I guess technically, the November the 2nd and the 3rd. So you can go to ecomsellersmastery.com/live 2022. Again, ecomsellersmastery.com/live 2022. And I encourage you to turn up the dial on your business for 2023. If you haven't started thinking about 2023, this is a great time to start thinking about it. It's time for you to get laser focused in your e-commerce business. So grab the e-commerce planner. It was created for sellers, by sellers. You can go to myecomplanner.com. Again, myecomplanner.com to grab your e-commerce planner. And as I said before, you can schedule a free 20-minute coaching session. Let's talk about your business. We can talk about any aspect of your business, any method of e-commerce. You can schedule that by going to ecomsellers.com, clicking on free resources to schedule your free 20-minute coaching session. And if you need some support on your e-commerce journey, I do invite you to join eCom Sellers Academy. You can go to ecomsellersacademy.com to join. It's terribly affordable, and that we will help you and support you on your journey. So now let's get ready to get into the monthly planning checklist. If you didn't go download it now in the e-commerce planning Facebook group. We're live on Clubhouse. We're also live in the e-commerce planning Facebook group. And so we want to go through the checklist. After we go through the checklist, I do invite you to jump on Clubhouse so that we can talk about where you are in your business, what's happening on your e-commerce journey, and whatever questions that you may have. So we're live on Clubhouse, e-commerce club. Go join it so that after we go through the checklist, you have the opportunity to come out and ask your questions or talk about your business or talk about whatever questions you have. So with that, let's do this. So if you didn't go download it, I'm showing it on my screen. We're live in the e-commerce planning Facebook group. And this is the monthly checklist. Now, we did already go through October. We actually planned for Q4 and we talked about October. So we're going to do two things. As part of going through this checklist, we're going to talk about fourth quarter and where you stand as of now based on the goals that you established at the beginning of October for the entire quarter. And then we're also going to talk about where you are as far as how you did for the month of October, just October alone. And then the last part is we're going to put together our plan and strategy for November. And we're going to do all that in the time that we have left. So some of this is going to require some time. I'm going to step through this. You can come back and listen to the replay so that you can do this on your own, because you do want to put together a strategy that's going to help you. November's got your Black Friday, Cyber Monday in there. The next couple of weeks in November, like the amount of money that passes through the e-commerce space in November and the first 3 weeks of December are bananas and ridiculous. So you need to go get your piece of the pie. If you're not organized or you didn't put together your game plan, I'm going to tell you, you're behind the 8 ball, but you can still play catch up. There's still some time, depending on your e-commerce method. If you're doing private label, white label, you're still going to be behind. And private label at least. White label, yeah, you're still going to be a little bit behind. There's print on demand. You still got some time to throw some stuff up the rest of today, which is Sunday. You got retail arbitrage, online arbitrage. You can always go make money with that. That's going to be quick money in some cases, not in all cases. Depends on how you source. Thrifting, selling books, again, you can still get into that. There are some wholesale suppliers that may be local to you that you can go get inventory from. So there's still, don't give up hope. I just want you to know that the amount of money that's going to be passing through the e-commerce space over the next 6 to 8 weeks is just going to be ridiculous. So if you focus, put together a good game plan, you could come out on the other side of this way more successful than you thought you would. So as I look through the checklist, step 1 of this process, we're ending the month of October. We are in, again, Q4. So you do want to figure out where you are as far as the goals that you established. So you established some goals for Q4. What were your top goals and what's your status on those top goals? that you established for Q4? What were your income producing goals? Where are you trending or tracking? So I'm going to give you some hypothetical scenarios. Maybe one of your scenarios was, my goal is to create 200 new listings every single month. That's a low number, but that's okay. If that's your life and your life is extremely busy and that's what you can do, you do what you got to do. So let's say it's 200 listings every single month in the quarter. So that's 600 for the quarter. Where are you on that journey as far as Q4 is concerned? Are you trending and tracking towards that number, or are you way off base? Are you still at 50 listings for the month? And so you're not going to meet your goals for the end of October because, again, 200 every single month, 600 for the quarter. Where are you trending? So what were your top goals for the quarter, your income producing goals, your admin, VA, or operational goals? What were those goals? When it comes to things that you needed to get together or put in place, what were your marketing goals? Hopefully, like one of your marketing goals for Q4 was to actually use the month of October to put together your Black Friday strategy and ads. If you didn't do that in September, to put together, what am I going to focus on? What am I going to target? What kind of ads am I going to run? How am I going to drive extra traffic to my listings? Like all of that is in Q4. You're going into November. You still have some time. A lot of the Black Friday deals are going to start coming up and popping up in this first week, which is this week that's coming up in November. So you need to get it together if you have not, and you figure out where you're going to get that extra time to get that done, or outsource that activity to somebody else. What are your what were your priorities for the quarter? So you had to have some priorities that you were working on that needed to happen. And those priorities can be extracted directly from your top goals, your income producing goals, your marketing goals, and your VA or admin goals. So what were those goals that you extracted out that were the priority things? Like if nothing else goes right, what were the priorities for the quarter? And then what were the habits that you're working to build in this quarter? Things that you're working to develop, improve, change, stop doing, start doing. What were those things? And then after you go back and just kind of be honest with yourself, and you can do all of this inside the My eCom Planner, being honest with what your plans were for the quarter. Now we're going to go and see, okay, based on that, since there's 3 months in the quarter, dividing those goals out, what were your objectives for the same ones for the month of October? What were your top goals? Did you hit your goals? What were your revenue goals? What were your listing goals? What were your fulfillment order goals? What were your sourcing goals, product research goals? What were they? What were your goals? And where did you land? Now we got one more day, so you can hit it hard today. You can hit it hard tomorrow. And then November the 1st, you can come back and see where you landed. But you need to go through and look at your top goals for the month, your income producing goals for the month, your admin and VA goals for the month, your marketing goals. And again, what were your priorities for the month and the habits that you wanted to build for this month? Because when you're building habits, you're not building habits like in a week. You're building them over a period of time. So anywhere from 60, 30, 90 days. So 30, 60, 90 days. So they're backwards. But anyway, that's what you're doing. So what were those habits that you're working to put in place? And building new habits, the goal is, again, moving forward, whatever habits you're working on, maybe in October, they will be a complement to what you're trying to address for the entire quarter. Let me give you a great example. Maybe marketing is your challenge. Let's just say that. So if this were third quarter, this is what I would say. If your focus for the quarter is to improve your skills around marketing, then in July, I would be focused on July, August, September. So July, if I'm working on overall getting better at marketing, I might focus on learning and understanding Facebook ads better. Okay. Then in August, focus on getting better at Google ads and YouTube ads. And then in September, getting better at some of the other platform ads like Pinterest or TikTok, or just getting better at marketing on those platforms, focusing time, committed time, maybe an hour every single week, just to getting better, because making that the objective for the month for quarter 3 is going to definitely benefit quarter 4. It's going to put you in a better position to win. It's going to put you in a better position to have more sales or to drive more traffic to your listings. It's going to put you in a better position to make more money. So making that investment in Q3 will help you in Q4. Can you do that in Q4? Absolutely. Again, because anything that you learn in Q4, you can definitely gain the benefit of it in Q4, but you can also benefit in it in Q1. So it's just developing and improving the skills that you already have, gaining the knowledge and the things that you feel like you have a deficit on, all of that. So you can continue that journey. So let's do the analysis. That's what we're doing in step one. We're doing a bunch of month end analysis and we're doing a bunch of check in for the quarter analysis. Once you have documented your analysis for the month to see what your goals were, and you establish some, some of those goals were broken down into daily goals and or daily stats. So if one of your goals was, hypothetically, let's say your goal was to create 100 listings a week, which puts you at 400 listings for the month, dividing out that 100 listings a week, and let's say you're working 5 days a week, that's 20 listings every day. How did you do? Did you get your 20 listings up every single day? So looking at that data. Again, this is month end analysis and quarter check-in. Step two is once you have documented the information or reviewed it and analyzed it, you got to be honest with yourself. In your My Ecom Planner, you're going to document this under anything that you learned from your analysis. You're going to put that in lessons learned. You're also going to document your wins or your accomplishments. You probably had some accomplishments this month. We always celebrate our wins and our accomplishments so that way it keeps us motivated, it keeps us engaged, it keeps us excited about this journey because there are going to be some obstacles on this journey. And so being able to go back and say, you know what, I didn't hit all my targets in October. I had 5 targets. I hit 2 of my 5. I'm going to celebrate that and let's all do the happy dance together. So step 2 is to review your notes throughout month end. So every single month, you have the opportunity to document some things. Anything around sourcing, some notes that you took for the month of October. And this could be going back and looking at your October notes from last year, because sometimes we put stuff out there so that way we don't forget about it next year. So sourcing notes, any personal notes when it comes to your business, any notes in your calendar that are going to help you to make better decisions as you get ready to go into November. Maybe you had some lessons learned. Maybe there was a vendor you said, you know what, I was planning on ordering this particular product regarding this niche from this vendor. I can't use this vendor, or they don't have enough, or they've already told me that they have a limited supply and they're not going to get another order until January 1st. So again, going through to make all of the necessary notes that are going to definitely impact your business and potentially impact your life, and putting that into your looking forward section of your e-commerce planner so that you can extract that information as you make decisions for November. Okay. So again, we're doing month end check-in and where we are for the quarter. Step 3 is to perform your month end admin tasks. Now, you're probably not going to perform this today. You may wait until the 31st or the 1st to run it. You may have a VA do it, whatever the case may be. This is running your month-end reports, preparing your taxes, completing your inventory audit, or checking in to see where you are, because you do need to know what your inventory levels are. You're in Q4, so you're going into November, which is going to be the busiest next couple of weeks. So where are your inventory levels? And then reviewing any expiration dates if your products have expiration dates of any type. Completing your account, bank, and expense reconciliation, completing your budget updates and reconciling your budget, going through and looking at where you stand. Now, you probably had some target numbers for the quarter and some things that you wanted to get accomplished for the quarter. Where do your stats fall when you analyze where you are for the quarter? Okay. Are you trending okay? Are your stats below? I'm off by 10%, 20%, or am I ready for this? So go through and look at and run your month end stuff. You may wait a couple of days for step 3 and then come back and do that, but you're going to need that information potentially to help you to make some decisions for November based on what your objective was for the entire quarter. Step 4, we're going to go look at the previous year's stats, because the goal is always to improve year over year. So what were your stats for Q4? You should have already looked at that in October, but if you didn't, stop and do that. What were your stats for Q4 2022, 2021? And our goal is always to get better. Where am I trending for 2022 for the quarter? And then go look at your October stats for 2021, just isolating the month. And let's go look at those stats. What do those numbers look like for October? What was my data? Did I meet my numbers? Did I beat my numbers? Comparing my results. October of last year, I made X number of thousands, millions of dollars, whatever the number is. October of this year, my goal was this, whatever the number is. Did I reach those goals? And again, breaking down the goals so that we actually have something that is tangible. You can include number of listings. So maybe in 2021, you created 1,000 listings in October, and maybe your goal for October 2022 was to create 1,100. Maybe for 2021, your average ROI was 25%. And for 2022, your goal, your objective was your average ROI should be around 35%. So again, looking at where you're trending, see if you're on target for the quarter and also for the month compared to last year. So go and look at those stats. And while you're doing some review of the previous years, since we're in the quarter, again, go ahead and eyeball what those numbers were for November of 2021. So you're going to build a November of 2022 plan here in a second. Know what those numbers are so that you have an objective of what you want to meet or beat for the month that's coming. Okay. And you're going to document all those results in your looking forward section of your planner so that way, again, you're going to use the information from the looking forward section to begin building your November game plan. All right. So now that we've kind of pulled out some historical data, looking at stats for Monthend and for quarter, where we are, status quo, now we're going to move into the next part of this journey, which is planning for next month. When planning for next month, one of the things that we're getting ready to do in planning for next month is we're going to go and we're going to look at not just November, but we're also going to look at November and December at this window because it's part of the quarter. We're going to go look up any daily holidays in which we can take advantage of that. So if you're doing print on demand, that's a great one to know what additional daily holidays outside of the big ones of Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and New Year's and Boxing Day and all of that. What are the other daily holidays that I could potentially use in my strategy for November and potentially December? Monthly holidays, again, the month of November. So typically when I'm looking at the quarter, I'm actually looking at the monthly holidays for the entire quarter when I'm doing my quarterly planning. So knowing what the holidays are in October, November, December. And when I'm in in the example of September, I will actually go look the next 3 months up so that way I know what my strategy is going to be for creating designs for October, November. October, November, and December. What are the international holidays that are coming up? What are major events, activities, and summarize all of that in the looking forward. So in November, of course, elections. So in order for me to take advantage of elections, like if I was doing print on demand or something else, like I would order my lapel pins back in July. So I'm always a quarter ahead in order to have them available for all the stuff that's going to be happening in the quarter that's coming up. So people are doing campaign, and I would actually probably go before that because all of that campaigning stuff, all those midterm elections and all that other fun stuff, I'm probably going to place my orders in January if I'm going to be honest about it, because I know that there's all types of runoffs and things like that are happening all in March and April and May that are happening in different cities, different states, different counties throughout the U.S. So people are going to be ordering those lapel pins. They're going to be out there shaking hands and doing all kinds of stuff. So I would order mine in bulk supply so I have them. And then as you continue, those people on the campaign trail having those lapel pins all the way up until election day. So making sure I have a plethora of those available. That would be my strategy. But again, looking at the bigger picture, planning this out, I'm not just going to focus on Q4. I'm going to look at Q3 and Q2. Or if there's something something I probably need to order, I'm going to need for next year, probably going to look at, okay, when's the best time to do that? I'm going to start putting that stuff on my list of national activities that are coming up. So I'll start looking at Q1. What are those national activities that are going to be coming up? And then the next thing is outside of major activities, there's sporting events that are coming up, ball games, football, baseball. Well, yeah, all of these ball games that are coming up. So document this in your looking forward, because you're going to use that information to make some decisions about November. You're going to make some decisions about December, and you're going to make some decisions about the quarter. You're going to make some notes about what you care about for first quarter of next year. Then step 6 is we're going to do some advanced planning. So I kind of already went through advanced planning indirectly, which is I'm going to look at the next 4 to 20 weeks. So the next 1 to 5 months. Again, that means that I'm looking at the rest of Q4. I'm looking at Q1, and I might actually go look at Q2. What are the holidays that are coming up? Monthly planning, monthly holidays, daily holidays, international holidays, major events, major activities where I can take advantage as a seller. Maybe I have a private label product and I need to create my own version of that private label product for um, Easter or for St. Patty's Day or for Valentine's Day. So I don't want to miss those things. Those are all major holidays, but there's going to be some small ones in there. And so, what are those that are coming up so that I can maybe tailor my private label product to those things? Because, again, do people buy stuff for Valentine's Day? Absolutely. Have you not walked into a store to see the fact that at the front of the store, I can tell you as soon as Christmas is over, Valentine's Day will already be staged in the stores as soon as Christmas is over. Like December the 26th, they'll be putting Valentine's Day out. Okay. There's a reason why they do that, because people are going to buy that stuff. It's going to fly off the shelf. So, again, being strategic, if you're trying to increase your sales based on the products that you happen to be selling, knowing when those cycles happen and when they start, that is going to be important. So again, we're going to be strategic planners about planning for next month, and not just next month, the next 20 weeks. We're going to go and glance what's happening, daily holidays, monthly holidays, international holidays, major events, and major activities that are coming up. And they could be local, they could be worldwide, they could be national, they could be any of those. So go make a note. You're going to put all this information. I refer to it as the looking forward section, so that you don't miss out on those potential income producing activities. Because people are always going to buy stuff for Valentine's Day. They're always going to buy stuff for Easter. They're always going to buy stuff for back to school. They're always going to buy stuff for Halloween. They're always going to buy stuff for Christmas. They are. And then you have those other products that people just buy every day just because they need them. All right. The next step, in step 7, is we're going to determine what our stats and goals are for the month. We kind of went back and we looked at what we did November 2021. Then we have to determine what are our stats, goals, or objectives going to be for November of 2022. We need to bounce that off of whatever we established for the quarter. So you had some stats and goals for the quarter that you established. Again, just using some simple numbers, like let's say I wanted to create 1,000 new listings for Q4, and I wanted to have an average ROI of 35%. I wanted to, like there's a bunch of different stats that you wanted to establish. Let's make sure, number of listings, sales, rework listings, hours worked in your business. Maybe you're not a person that's been consistent in your business. You're not working enough hours, and you know that this business requires a little more investment than what you're currently giving it. So there could be some personal goals and objectives that you establish for your business and for yourself. So include that in your looking forward section. Now, in step 8, what we're going to do is we're going to go back all that stuff that we wrote in. We wrote a bunch of stuff in the looking forward section. We wrote a bunch of stuff in lessons learned. We got that lessons learned on seeing where we were for October and also where we are for the quarter, and maybe some lessons learned that we learned from 2021. And we're going to review and assess that information so that we can build our priorities for the month of November. We're going to take all of the lessons learned. We're going to take all the information we gathered from looking forward, and we're going to put that into an area of our planner so that we can establish our goals for the new month. Goals around sourcing, product research, goals around listings, goals around fulfillment of orders, goals around ads and marketing, goals around all kinds of things, operational things, changes that you want to make. Maybe you want to jump into a new niche. Maybe you wanted to change to a new method of e-commerce. I will tell you, in Q4, I don't recommend that you make those changes. But in Q3 or Q2 or Q1, it's a great time to begin to make those adjustments so that you can add this to be part of your business. Okay. And then we're going to step 9. We're going to actually develop or build our budget. Determine what our budget needs to be for Q4, sorry. See where we are in our budget, and also build our budget for the month of November. What is the budget going to be for the month of November? And after we do that, now we're ready to build our plan for the new month and potentially make some adjustments to our goals and objectives and plan for the rest of the quarter. So, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, your numbers should be going up exponentially on what you want to attain or achieve for Q4 for the next 6 to 8 weeks. They should go up. In addition to that, your numbers, the goals that you're going to establish, should be realistic based on the amount of time that you have available to invest in your business, the amount of money. Again, if you're reinvesting 100% of your profits back into your business, the amount of money, and then also maybe any specific resources that you're using to run your business. Like, people will use repricers, they'll use tools like Keepa to do research to follow what's happening with the products that they're listing, how often are those products get in the buy box, how many sellers are on the listing, things like that. So you're going to use all that information, all of those tools to help you make some decisions. So as we begin this next part, the third part of this journey is to actually create your plan for the new month and make adjustments to your current plan. Step 10 of this process is we're going to make some intentional decisions. We are going to go into our planner and we're going to fill in for the month of November. We're going to fill in anything that is personal. If you have family coming to visit, you have relatives that are, going to come hang out with you for Thanksgiving. If you are planning to travel yourself, those are going to be times in which you're going to be offline. You're going to be not going to be able to run your business. That's just the nature of November. And maybe you decide, I'm going to come visit you guys for Christmas and I'm going to invest my time for Thanksgiving into my business. You can decide that. Maybe you need to order the Thanksgiving turkey and meal because you're not going to have time to make it yourself because you're going to be working in your business. So this would be a great time to go out to those different store websites or restaurant websites and place that order so Thanksgiving dinner is an afterthought for you and not something that you have to be concerned about. So in your My eCom Planner, you're going to go in and fill in the month of November on line 1. You're going to put in all of those personal type of decisions that you need to address in your business. I make a note that my kids are going to be out of school for a week. That's something that's important to know, which means I got to make sure that they have something to do other than sitting on electronics all day. Maybe they're going to send them off to go be with grandma. Who knows? In addition to that, again, if you're planning on cooking Thanksgiving dinner, that means you're probably going to be offline. That means you're also going to have to go to the grocery store. So again, if you do a preemptive strike and say, you know what? November the 1st, I'm going to go ahead and order Thanksgiving dinner. And then I'm going to put on my calendar for November the 20th to go pick it up. That way it's already taken care of, it's already planned, and you'll invest a couple of hours into heating up the food and you can continue working in your business. So again, let's be strategic about it. We know it's coming up. It's not a surprise. We shouldn't be caught off guard. Now, that's in the US. And like other countries like Canada, they already had Thanksgiving. So their Thanksgiving was in October. So depending on where you live, your timing of whatever holidays you have might be different than the US, but that's what it is in the US. Then the next thing is you're going to make a note of anything that is major for your family in the month of November. So my kids used to do piano and we used to always have a piano recital and it would happen around the same time. So I'd go put that on my calendar so that I didn't forget those important things that are coming up. If your church is having a women's retreat or a women's conference, go put that on your calendar. Those are times in which you're probably not going to be plugged into your business and you're not going to be plugged into other things. You're just going to be focused on that, whatever that one thing is. So go put any major things that are coming up. If you have to do taxes, you want to go put that on your calendar. When is the deadline for taxes? If you're maybe doing karate and you have a karate, whatever, meet, tournament, whatever it's called, that's coming up, go put that on your calendar inside the My Ecom Planner. And if you don't want to put it there, go put it on your calendar, your Google Calendar, if you have a Google Calendar or whatever, so you don't miss those important dates of things that are happening in the month of November. Once you've kind of put your personal stuff on the calendar, that's great. Now we're going to go and review the looking forward section that we covered in steps 1 through 8. And we're going to put those activities or actions that we pointed out that were important, we're going to put those into the planner as well. This could be things like going back and reordering XYZ. So checking in with the supplier on blah, blah, whatever it happens to be. It could be, checking in with your new fulfillment service, because maybe you got 2 fulfillment services that you're using, to see where they are on a daily basis for the first 2 weeks of this journey. Because again, starting something new in the middle of the fourth quarter, all these fulfillment services, they're going to be busy. Like they're going to be really, really busy. So making that a priority so that your orders are getting processed and you're answering any questions they may have, and that it's not an afterthought, is extremely important. Going through and putting together or scheduling your ads. You want those ads to get optimized. You're going into November. So if you haven't created your ads, you probably want to start that now so you can get those ads optimized over the next couple of weeks. So it should be something that is not new. Putting that on your agenda to say, look, I'm going to do these things, reworking your listings so you can optimize your existing listings, making that a priority, sending your listings through Pingler and Ping Farm. So putting that all onto the November planner and specifically being strategic about when you're going to do those activities, making sure that you put that out there, cross-listing them on the other platforms, sharing them out to social media, all of that. So figure out on your November calendar, pick specific dates and times, specific days in which you're going to do these activities so they don't get lost in the muck. Then you're going to go in and look at your current weekly template. You're going to extract any other what activities. This is what exactly am I listing? What exactly am I doing product research on? What exactly am I sourcing? What exactly am I fulfilling? So maybe your strategy for Q4 should be, well, probably I should have been in October. But anyway, maybe your strategy was, instead of sending 1 shipment a week to Amazon or 2 shipments a week to Amazon, I'm going to send 3 shipments a week so that my products get checked in a timely manner if you're doing FBA. So maybe your first 2 weeks in October, that was also your strategy. Because again, there's going to be a time in which Amazon's going to be like, okay, you can send in the stuff if you're selling on Amazon. If you're not selling on Amazon, this doesn't apply to you. But if you're selling on Amazon, there's going to be a time in which they say, okay, now you can start sending us the January 1st stuff. Like they're still processing Christmas stuff. So they're like, yeah, you got to wait until after this date before you start sending that stuff in. So there may be a strategy that you have where you start pre-preparing shipments, but you don't submit them yet. Things like that. So making sure you have that inventory checked in and you have that available so you're ready to rock and roll. Go plug in all the what's that you're going to do. Then as you're filling in this monthly plan, now you're going to go and say, okay, what are the priorities, the top priorities for November? What are my top monthly goals for November? What are my income producing goals for the month of November? What are my admin or VA or administrative operational kind of goals do I have for the month of November? What are my ads and marketing and traffic goals for the month of November? And your goal is to go and establish those based on where you are in the quarter and based on where you are in, your numbers that you have for October. Now you can establish new numbers for November, or you keep the existing numbers that you were targeting for November. And add any additional major holidays that may apply to you based on where you live or what country you're in that you feel like is missing. Add that to your monthly plan. Add those to the monthly plan as well. So now you have an outline of what your goals are for the month of November, where you stand for your goals for the entire quarter, and what your tentative things that you're eyeballing, monitoring, checking for the month of December and potentially the entire first quarter, so that way you don't miss those things. So I hope this information is helpful. I hope you use it to establish a good monthly plan to see where you are for the quarter and to see how you did for the month of October. Can I believe that over this time, like, allergy season is real, y'all? But in any case, go back. You're going to spend some time going through this activity. It's not going to be a short activity. It's going to require some of your time and some of your investment to get through it. But what you're going to do is build a strong goal and a strong list of objectives for the month of November. And you're going to increase your awareness of the things you should be ordering. Like from a sourcing standpoint, that might be one of the things you put on your monthly goal, is to order products for December, order products for January, order products for February, March, and April, so that you are ordering those things in advance and it's not an afterthought. And you're putting that into the month of November, so you're going to indicate which days you're going to be ordering and what are the products you're going to be ordering. You're going to indicate exactly what those products are and potentially who the supplier is for those products. And if you don't know the supplier, you're going to put down product research. So that's going to be one of those activities you're going to engage in. What are my product research? Maybe I'm doing product research on November the 15th for January. And then on November the 16th, maybe I'm doing ordering of inventory for the month of January, or maybe I'm doing it for February, or maybe I'm doing it for the quarter. Okay. So I hope this information is helpful. I hope you use it to help you put together a strong plan for the month of November, a strong adjustment for the rest of the quarter, and to help you build a strategy for January, for the next quarter. My name is Nicole Whitlock, and my passion is helping people on their e-commerce journey, helping them to get organized, get focused, and consistent in their business. If that's you, I'm here for you. You can schedule a free 20-minute coaching session by going to ecomsellers.com, clicking on free resources, and scheduling a free 20-minute coaching session. You can also join eCom Sellers Academy. It is terribly affordable. It's $17.99 a month, or you can sign up for the lifetime. And if you haven't already, go grab the My eCom Planner. It was created for sellers by sellers. It is the ultimate e-commerce planner, and it's designed to help you on your e-commerce journey. So I hope you had a profitable October. I hope that today you have an extremely successful and extremely focused, profitable day, week, and month. And with that, we're going to say goodbye for now. If you're on Clubhouse, please feel free to raise your hand so you can ask any questions. And for those that are in the e-commerce Facebook group, goodbye for now.